I got this one wrong, but at the same time, I am very, very, very happy to be proven wrong. Daniel Dubois stops Jarrell Miller in the dying seconds of the 10th round. I actually thought this was a 12-rounder, but it was only a 10-rounder. And with Jarrell Miller, right, I picked him to win. Right, I did, with no great degree of certainty, but I did pick him to win. He's taken an L. He's been stopped by Daniel Dubois. And I have to just say to him, don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's what I got to say to Jarrell Miller. Great performance from Dubois. A few little worrying signs in there, though. In the first round, it was all Dubois. And primarily this fight, it was all Dubois, apart from a couple of the mid-rounds, like the 4th and the 5th round, where Miller had moments in those rounds. But primarily this was a Daniel Dubois fight. But he was doing certain things in there that I was just... how would I describe it? I think he should have done things a little bit different. It still won him at the end of the day, but it made the fight a little bit harder. So he would be jabbing, he'd be moving. And I know Dubois doesn't have the quickest feet in the world, but instead of using his feet to get away from Jarrell Miller, he was just pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back. That's all well and good, but you're pushing a guy who's 100 pounds heavier than you. His nearest makes no difference. That's going to wear you out. So you want to make sure that even if you're exerting energy by just using your feet, it's better than just trying to push. O'Hara Davis said it best, a heavy bag with arms. It's better just to try and move out of the way than just to try and start pushing them back. And I worried, would that sap Daniel Dubois a little bit? I did worry a little bit about it. I was thinking, oh, could that sap him a little bit later on? Now, he was landing some shots on Miller. He actually busted Miller's mouth up a little bit early on because Miller wasn't really doing much. He was just coming forward, as he always does with that high guard. It's not Pernell Whitaker with the defense, even though the high guard, it could be hard to penetrate it. With Miller, it's not really that hard. You can get through. So Dubois was having success there. He was hitting Miller in the body. Now, Dubois and low blows, some of them were definitely, some of them were on the side of his leg. Some of them were really low. But the majority were around about on the waistline. They were. The referee he only pulled Dubois up twice in the whole fight. There was more than 2 occasions, but primarily they were okay, to be fair. Dubois in around round 3, round 4, he would start those rounds well. He'd be working the jab, he'd be doing well, but then he'd fade a little bit. And Miller would come on strong and he'd just start opening up. Now, he was catching Dubois, and I think the commentary team, Richie Woodhall and Darren Fletcher, I think they were making it out at certain times in the fight Dubois was more in trouble than he was. I don't think he was ever really in trouble, and I think that Dubois, Miller was pressuring him and he was landing shots, but there's no great degree of power on those shots. When you're as heavy as he is, you can only throw arm punches. So yeah, look, I'm sure his punches don't tickle, but he's not going to get maximum velocity into the shots, so it's just going to be whacking off you, and you'll probably be thinking, okay, they hurt a little bit, but it's nothing I can't deal with. Dubois never really, he looked tired at times, but he never had that real worried expression that you see where, you think a fighter, you're looking at him and you're like, I don't trust you. I don't think there was ever really that feel in this fight, and I think that Miller, obviously he was stringently tested for this fight, as you would expect, as you would want if you're an opponent, and you really see the difference. When I was watching the first couple of rounds, it reminded me a little bit of the fight he had with Thomas Adamek, and to a lesser extent Bogdan Dinu, where both those guys started quite well. They were able to move around the ring. Miller was following them, but he eventually caught up with them, with Dubois being just better than those fighters respectively. Certainly Adamek was never really a heavyweight. He was a light heavy / cruiser, and he was old at that point. Dubois being better, stronger, he was able to just ride the second win that Miller had, if you could even call it that, and come through, find his own second win. And obviously Miller being clean, right, the energy that he used to have is completely gone now. I mean, he used to be throwing loads of punches around. He was throwing single shots around, and again, it wasn't, I wouldn't turn around and say it was fought at a devastating pace, but Miller, after about 6 rounds, he was done, and Dubois just kept to himself, kept his box, and used the uppercut to good effect, which is a really, really good punch in there. And then finally, towards the back end of the 9th round, I felt that he hurt Jarrell Miller, but it was literally the back end, so the bell went, and he picked up from where he left off in the 10th round, hurt Jarrell Miller, and yeah, Miller backed up into it. You could see the shots were having an effect on him. And then Miller got backed up into a corner, looked like he was going to go. Daniel Dubois followed up with a combination. Referee jumped in and stopped the fight. Everyone wanted Dubois to win, and I'm glad he did. I tweeted on Twitter that whatever that girl has done, she's turned Clark Kent into Superman with Daniel Dubois in there, because that's what it literally seemed like. That. Credit to him. I hope that's the last we see of Jarrell Miller. I really do. I hope it's the last we see of him. At the end of the day, he is a fun fighter to watch. He is entertaining in terms of the trash talking, but he is a scumbag at the end of the day. Let's not forget that. You know, he is a complete scumbag. And a loss like that, giving it all the bravado, all the trash talk, to go and get stopped by the guy, yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's what I got to say on that. So, inevitably he will probably come again, and the fact that he's such a loud, bombastic, brazen character, you will get promoters who'll be like, the hell with it. It's probably since he's lost now, they're like, get my guy in and beat this guy. But Dubois, that fight, I think that fight right there with Miller is almost going to be like a rebirth for Dubois. I think it's almost like he's going to reset after that fight, because tough as it was in parts, it's going to give him so much confidence. It's going to give him so much confidence to go face adversity, come through it, and then come through with flying colours. We really could see a very, very good fighter come out the back of this. And if I was Frank Warren, do you know what I'd be doing? Joe Joyce rematch. Joe Joyce rematch. What else is Joe Joyce going to do? Joe Joyce rematch. That's what I'd be doing next year. Joe Joyce rematch. Maybe on the undercard of Fury versus Usyk. Let's see. Or certainly you could do it in the UK. You could do it in the O2 or the OVO. Easy fight to do there. Easy, piss easy. So credit to Dubois. See you later, Miller. Lads, we're going live in about 20 minutes. A few people ask me why am I doing it this late. Simple reason, 3 fights is what I want to get. YouTube algorithms don't like lives going over 3 hours. It messes with the algorithm, so I don't want that happening. And it's quite tiring to talk for 3 hours non-stop or more. So that's why we're doing it at a little after 8. Get this post-fight out. And this has been 3 more fights, 3 more knockouts, and I got it. Clean sweep. I wish I'd put a bet on it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.